Hello and welcome to Home Media Minefield presents Let's See What's Out There Live, a weekly live stream and podcast currently focused on Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is available to stream on Disney+. In tonight's episode, we are going to have a spoiler-filled discussion around episode 5, which is the penultimate episode, called Truth. So watch out for spoilers for that and the series so far, as well as other elements of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. My name's Keith Isles. I am an independent filmmaker and lifelong fan of movies, TV shows, and connected media. And for today, I am joined actually by a new roster of Avengers for tonight's discussion. So Clive and Graham are off in Latvia doing some sort of buddy secret mission. And unfortunately, Pete is currently ill. So I hope he feels better soon. But no doubt he will, and he'll be filming and editing a training style montage for us all in the very near future. So we wish him well. In the meantime, I am pleased to be joined. I have my usual sidekick on my left, which is filmmaker and the mega geek himself, Ian David Diaz.
Hello.
Welcome. How you doing? Are you on my left? You're on my right, aren't you? Trying to do my MCU references.
I'm on the left. I'm on the left.
You're on the left. There you go. There you go.
Well,
like Sam.
When I'm looking on the screen, I'm on the right. But
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm on the left.
Our geography, screen direction, Ian. It always gets, doesn't it? Screen direction, crossing the line, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And talking of screen directions and crossing the line, and somebody that knows his screen direction is filmmaker and documentarian Anthony Bueno. Hey, Anthony.
Bueno.
Yeah. Know which way
camera right, camera left. And whatever side the camera's on, that's all I know.
Or just shoot the F out of it, basically. That's shoot the F out of it, yeah.
I won't worry about it in the edit. Fix it in post.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Well, do you think we might get on to whether they've been doing that in this show. But before we do, I have a very special fourth Avenger to add to the team. He is himself a YouTuber as well and has his own channel called the Mr. Brown Alliance, going by the pseudonym today of Sam Brown for obvious reasons. Welcome to the show, Ian Brown. How you doing, Mr. Brown? You well?
I'm very well. Evening all.
Evening.
Evening. Mega Geek, you all right?
Yeah, fine.
I have to say, you do indeed look like a proper podcaster and YouTuber with the professional microphone set up there.
I need a haircut, if anything. So yeah. I thought I'd give the YouTubing thing a little go. So here we go.
No, absolutely. And just to say, if we've got a few people watching live, please do get involved in the live chat. I will get to as many comments or questions as I can. We want this to be an interactive show, so please do get involved. If you've got any comments that you feel, I'd love to know what you think about the show, whether you agree with myself and the panel here while we're discussing it. So please feel free to add that. If you find this afterwards as a vodcast on the channel, then please do check out some of the other work on this channel. We've had discussions on previous episodes and other shows. There's also some other video and content. And if you like what you're seeing there, give us one of those thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell notifications so that you don't miss more of these discussions moving forward. I also want to say this does go out as a podcast as well, if you prefer just to listen to things and not watch. So the podcast is available on all good podcasting apps at LSWOT Cast. That's short for Let's See What's Out There. LSWOT Cast, or LSWOT, as the cool kids say. So please check that out on all good podcasting apps. Right. So before we get into tonight's episode, because I know Ian's the Mega Geek's been on several of these, but Anthony and Mr. Brown, you're new to this particular stream that we're doing. I just wondered, before we dig into tonight's episode, I want to hear from each of you as to what you feel about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far and the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general. So, Anthony, let's start with you.
Well, generally, I do enjoy Marvel. I get frustrated that some of it becomes very formulaic, but that being said, I do enjoy it. You know, I generally look forward to anything that kind of comes out from Marvel, and whether it's the TV shows and whatnot, although I haven't seen all of them. And Falcon and Winter Soldier, I just want to be enjoying it a lot more than what I actually am. It's all right. It's just, but there's things that really gnaw at me that I think could have been done a lot better. I think generally, it's a shame because I like the actors, I like the characters, but I haven't like been. I cannot wait till next week and find out what's kind of like going on. I just haven't. Right. It just like, apart from like, yeah, I just to the point where we were sort of like tempted was like, should we just leave it and wait until it's kind of done its run, even though there's only 2 episodes left at that point, and we'll just kind of watch it when it's kind of, and we'll just watch it in one go, because we were just like, yeah. But I did enjoy this episode more than I probably have done the previous episodes.
Okay. And what about you, Mr. Brown? What's your sort of feelings on MCU in general, and in particular, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far?
With regards to the MCU, I think fatigue was setting in with the films.
Okay.
And I think
there were a lot of them.
Yeah, it got to the stage where I said to myself, I need to start watching other types of films. I just they were very good, but just fatigued. Okay. The TV series Falcon Winter Soldier, I really wanted this to be good. And I said to the Mega Geek, this should have been a weekly mission show. You know, like it used to be with $6 Million Man and stuff like that, and Knight Rider and things like that.
I love the references.
I just think this is just trying to be a little bit too clever for its own good with stuff I'm not interested in.
Okay.
And it's Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, wasted. Especially Anthony Mackie. Mm-hmm. I think they're just wasted on the writers are just giving them dud material. It's a shame.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
No, that which is completely why we asked you on. We want the opinions. That's all fine. Mega Geek Ian, I know you're of a similar opinion. Is that right so far?
Yeah. Yeah, it's this show's so disappointing. It's obvious that they've stretched it out like what Netflix did with the Marvel series. You know, Jessica Jones and Daredevil and stuff like that. This episode could have been the 3rd episode. They've literally stretched it out. I mean, this episode alone, you had 8 minutes. I think from the beginning, it was 8 minutes. They finished beating up the Captain America, Walker. And then the rest of it is just, you know, and then they did that It's a Wonderful Life bit and stuff, and then they fix up the boat, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, how the kids go to school. And then we've thrown in some bit of politics in there about being black and being black a Captain America and all that nonsense. And then we get to, and I just like to point out, right, that as I said, they bloated this. They didn't have enough story to cover the 6 episodes. They needed to chop it down, shoot what was important, you know, and just move the story along. The first episode was so disappointing and slow and dull and tedious. You know, a lot of people have said that. It's not only me. A lot of people have said that. I am a fan of Marvel, but I am not stupid enough to like everything they've put out, right? And this is one of those. Point being, this show is not as good as it should be. And as Mr. Brown says, right, both Anthony Mackie and the guy who plays Winter Soldier, they're brilliant actors. They have been
are.
completely wasted in this, completely wasted. And if they can't see it as actors, if they watch this show and they can't see it, then they'll fall for anything. That's all I can say. Then again, it is a paycheck. So yeah, I'll do it. It's a paycheck.
Okay, well, I've got thoughts on this as well, which I'm sure we'll get into as we get into the episode. But if anybody out there watching this, if you strongly agree or disagree with what's been said so far, please whack that in the comment section. But in the meantime, Pete is not here to do the usual brief synopsis of the episode. So I'm going to do it from the IMDb synopsis, because as we know, IMDb is always absolutely 100% accurate in everything that it has. So the basic storyline is, after bringing down Walker, Sam and Bucky go their separate ways. But Bucky reunites with Sam in Louisiana. After meeting Isaiah, Sam trains with the Shield to become the next Captain America and stop the Flag Smashers as they launch an attack on the controversial GRC vote. So this particular episode, as always, is directed by Carrie Scogland, and this one was written by Dallin Mussum, whose previous credits include Iron Sky, The Coming Race, and Jeremiah Harm. So that's this basic credits there and a brief synopsis. So with that out of the way, yeah, let's get into it then. So how do we feel then about the opening? It kind of picked up shortly after last week with that shocker ending with John Walker having exactly murdered one of the Flag Smashers in front of the entire world, because everybody had their smartphones out, and he ran, and then we got a very reminiscent in some respects of the fight in Captain America's Civil War between Bucky, Iron Man, and Steve Rogers' Captain America. But any thoughts? I mean, I have to say, I thought it was a awesome fight scene, but what did you guys think?
Sorry, was anybody going to say anything?
No, you go ahead.
I just thought the fight was just mediocre. And what happened to the Winter Soldier? He was badass when he took on Captain America. He took on Captain America, and he almost beat Captain America in the Winter Soldier. He was so good. He was so fast with that knife and whatever. And then he comes and fights this guy. This guy also, you throw him against the wall and his hand doesn't work. I mean, it's just, I understand why they do that, because they want to stretch out the fights and they want to make it more, more edge of your seat stuff and stuff like that. But it doesn't work because we know who the Winter Soldier is and we know how lethal he is. Yet he is not lethal in this show at all. Even in I can't remember, episode 4 or 3, we had the fight in the bar. That fight was just so badly choreographed, and it was a nothing fight. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't really shown how lethal he was since that movie. It's just been dumbed down, in my opinion, And Walker, right? He wanted to kill him, didn't he? He ripped off his wing, ripped off Falcon's wing, and he almost killed.
Bird.
Yeah, clipped him.
Clipped him.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, I mean, I don't know. They really are building up to be a bad guy, aren't they? Really building up to be a bad guy. But you know what? It is what it is, right? It's in my opinion, it's disappointing. It's put a bad taste in my mouth. So, anything that's good kind of tastes a bit bad to me. But anyway, that's just my opinion, right? So,
okay. Mr. Brown,
I think you got a fair point, though. I mean, that's the thing. It's everything it's not been pushed far enough. It's not as gritty as, it's like if this was directed by the Russos and this was a film, we'd just get, it would be a quality, because I like the overall basic idea behind it. It just feels it falls flat all the time. I mean, it was like last week's episode, I can't remember what was going on, but is it the one where, that's the one where he takes it, and like old, Daniel Bruja, I've forgotten the name of the character, but instead of like shooting the girl who's right there, Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do my little dance on top
Yeah.
of all of these little blue balls. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, just a simple change of like, you know, as he's trying to shoot to the other one of the other, you know, super soldiers runs in, grabs her, makes away, and she drops the stuff, and then he takes time to break the stuff up because it's right in front of him. But it's just like, this is just
Also, right, Anthony, do you think the actual villain, the girl, right, she's about as threatening as my boot. Do you know what I mean? What the hell? You know, they cast this girl, right, and she's meant to be in charge of this whole group. Who would listen to someone like that? She's just a little girl, and plus she doesn't look threatening. She looks like someone that lives next door to me.
She's grown up.
Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Why would you cast someone like that? I'm just saying. Why would you cast someone like that?
There was something I remember seeing once about someone. You know, you earn the right to say the words, to read for the dialogue, and there was times I'm watching. It's like it doesn't feel like you've earned the right. You've been. I mean, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes and the situation they're all in, and they've got to deliver, and you know how COVID might have affected the overall kind of pace of the whole thing. I don't know, but you kind of sit there watching it. And it's sort of like, and I enjoyed this episode more than the rest, but that's not saying that much because I didn't really enjoy the rest that much. I'm constantly waiting to think, maybe I'll just see it from a different angle. Last week was the episode where I thought, this is really doing my head in now. There's some massive gaps. So when it got to this week, and I didn't mind the fight scene, I must say, it was all right. But it's a solid point. It's like, it's the Winter Soldier. And we've had this fight before and they could kick his ass, but they're not. And that's just like, I just don't get it. I mean, the whole kind of breaking the arm thing was just like, that was a bit that kind of gets you, and finally it's like, okay, finally something a bit nasty to make you think, right, they mean a bit more business here. But it just felt, I enjoyed elements of the show, of this particular episode, but again, you weighing it up against what I felt to be quite a weak series or weak show so far, so it's not really saying a lot, so
no. Okay. Mr. Brown, any kind of thoughts on that?
I just about managed to watch it before I came on air, and I was getting a kind of Lethal Weapon feel. You know, when they're around the boat, you know, the buddy, Murtaugh and Riggs. And you know what? I want to see Lethal Weapon type show with these two guys.
Yeah.
Back to the weekly missions. And then a story arc maybe of John Walker. I don't want to see these flag smashers. It doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
It does not interest me at all. And they're telling a story that I'm not interested in. And if they were telling it well, maybe I could forgive them. My knowledge compared to you guys is very basic, so I will be classed as a normie. And if the normies are seeing this, it's like, I just want to see Lethal Weapon weekly series, say 13 episodes a season, weekly missions, some form of story arc, but not every week, and them two would be fantastic, and it would be a hit.
Right. Yeah. So you prefer less serialized styled story?
I'm
trying to do like a 6-hour movie rather.
Let's just go back to basics, guys. You know, weekly missions. You sit there for 45 minutes. You don't need to engage. Just watch. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Mr. Brown. I totally agree with you. That's what they should have done.
Thank you, Ian.
It's like
those in favour say aye.
I mean, look at kind of looking at the sort of, about what you said earlier, Ian, about bloated story and all of this sort of thing. I mean, I kind of look at it this way: like when we have a Marvel, an MCU movie, which around 2 hours, whatever they are, they're usually big, spectacle movies, and it's some event that's world changing, like Thanos doing the snap or whatever, and it's kind of a big thing. What they've tried to do here, because we've got obviously the more real estate with the storytelling, is they've tried to do more character-based stuff, flesh out the characters a bit more, and talk about some other issues in life. Like I do kind of like the fact, and I know I keep defending this bit, but I like the fact that they are dealing with some of the fallout of the snap and of the blip, isn't it? They're calling it in the show. And all of that, and how that's kind of affected society and whatever. And I think it would do. And I sort of don't mind that, but I do sort of take on board what you're saying as well about we could have more sort of contained missions with an arc going on at the same time, as opposed to just one story that they're trying to tell here.
I think the problem is they're concentrating too much on what you've just said just now, and they forget that it's an action adventure series that we need to see. I mean, the best part of this episode is them fixing that freaking boat. I don't care about the boat. I don't care about his sister either. I don't care about the kids. I really don't care. And the bits that were quite enjoyable is when the Falcon was talking to Bucky, and they were throwing the shield around and stuff, and they were bonding. That was quite nice. That should have happened in episode 3. Do you know what I mean?
I disagree, Ian. I wanted that in episode 1.
Yeah, well, that would be great, wouldn't it? That would have been great.
Me too.
When Steve Rogers, when he was given the shield to the Falcon, you've earned it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I wanted Anthony Mackie to be straight in.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Straight in, training, montage, Rocky going in the background, whatever, brilliant. But I think the writers have thrown in, I'm going to kind of say a race card here, they've kind of thrown in. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the difference between cultures of America and UK. When the shield was given to Anthony Mackie, at the end of the film, I thought, yes, here we go. Mm. I didn't even see it's going to a black man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nor did I. Yeah, nor did
I.
Yeah,
exactly. But I think what they've done is they've made an issue of it.
Yeah.
And it's leaving a sour taste in the mouth.
No need for it.
And there's no need at all. He should have been training episode 1. I want to see them shields flying about. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. That's what we want. And they're just not giving us it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the the Black Captain America, and I've
coming for me now.
Obviously, I'm saying this as a white guy, so but I kind of what I find interesting about them tackling that in this series is, first of all, I know I'm not a comics aficionado at all, but I know that this particular storyline has been dealt with in the comics previously, and it kind of does that thing about it. Let's be honest, look at what's happened in the last year or so, in America and stuff. This issue still exists, and I appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Brown, about
it's cultural. Yes,
we're kind of to use not a better term, but colorblind to it, perhaps. Yeah, but a lot of people aren't, and that is something that exists, and I think they're trying to do it through.
Apparently, it's people like me who have got the problem.
Yeah, that's what they say. Idris is not black enough to be on BBC. For God's sakes, you know what I mean?
Ian, have you had jerk chicken today?
No, unfortunately not. No.
Oh dear.
So I can't go on the BBC because I'm not black enough. So there you go. But Mr. Brown is right. I think I disagree with you, Keith. They should, because they could. They doesn't mean they should. You know what I mean? They have to. And politics like this, even though it's been happening in real life, I don't want real life on my TV. I want some adventure. I want to be taken away. I want to see Winter Soldier kick someone's ass. I want to see, the Falcon. I know it's very basic, but after the complex complex storyline of WandaVision, I feel like we need some Marvel action. We need some Jack Kirby. We We need some pow and bam and stuff. That's what we need.
To be fair, I think we're going to get that next week. I mean,
why did we have to wait so long?
We're going to get.
We should have had episode 1.
A vibranium Captain America.
I could say vibrator,
aren't we?
I think that'd be more exciting.
but he's got the box that came from Wakanda. That see him open, and
we don't know what's in the box. We don't know what's in the box. It could be some new, some new shorts.
It'd be like Pulp,
new T-shirt.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's like Pulp Fiction. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It could be.
It glows.
Anthony, how do you feel about the that storyline with Sam Wilson and dealing with the taking over the mantle of Captain America without being a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, square-jawed guy in red, white, and blue?
Well, that's the thing. Just like I'm the same as Ian. I just didn't see it like that. I didn't see it as a thing in the first place. So it's kind of like now they're kind of shoving in this kind of story, which is a really interesting story. And I think I was watching something where they were hoping there'd be some kind of flash. I can't remember the name of the actor and the character that he's playing, but the black super soldier that was like in prison for years and stuff. And they're sort of like, because he's aged up. So maybe we're going to see sort of like some kind of flashback of him sort of like younger and doing his thing type of thing, which is an interesting kind of storyline. But it does feel like, well, you kind of and it's like I agree with Ian. It's like there's a point where you don't want it. We are getting this in real life, and it's not something in the UK I don't think we deal with or have to deal with that much. It's a very different kind of thing for us than what it is in the States. But when you watching telly, you don't always want that. You just want to sit and enjoy it. I mean, half the stuff we're influenced by, which is shocking, but we're sitting influenced by these things we watch on TV. So by not making a thing of it in some of these shows, if it's not a thing within the show, if that makes any kind of sense, then don't try and shoehorn it in just to try and show how kind of progressive you're thinking, because it'll just have the opposite effect, rather than just accepting everything for what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Look at Luther. Right, Luther was created by a white guy, and he said that just because Idris played him, right, we didn't want to make any references to his color, and therefore, if a young guy, you'd say a young impressionable kid is watching Luther, they'll see this black man, and he's intelligent, and he's beating up all the bad guys, whatever. Then that would inspire him to believe that people of his color could go forward. And it's the same thing with Falcon. There should be no mention to race at all. Young kids should see the Falcon and go, yeah, I want to be the Falcon, right? And not teach them about, oh yeah, they repressed this black guy. He was the first black Captain America. What is that saying to them? It's saying to them, racism still exists, instead of just.
But it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does, right? But the thing is, the more you say it, the more it will live, right? And even
Morgan Freeman said it.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
Best way to deal with it is not to mention it.
Yeah, best way to deal with racism is not to mention it at all. Right? That's the best way to deal with it, and respect your fellow human, no matter what color they are. I agree,
and I totally agree with you. Obviously, sometimes being a white guy, you feel like you
shouldn't even be saying that.
Are you, Keith? Are you privileged?
I'm not privileged, are you? We shouldn't even.
But I am blessed.
This is the negativity that's come out of this episode. We're talking about this when we shouldn't be talking about this.
I think there's a very valid point that a superhero TV show and universe should be about superhero stuff, and I'm pushing back a little, to have an interesting conversation here, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Anthony Mackie is a fantastic
actor.
Yeah. He's charismatic. He looks the part. I buy into it. He's just been let down totally.
Two stars that were up and rising is Anthony Mackie and unfortunately the guy that played Black Panther. I can't remember his name. He was on the up. And I remember watching him 12 Bridges.
Rest
Was
in
it 12
peace.
Bridges? That film, 12 Bridges?
21 Bridges.
I never thought about him being black in that film, ever. And this is the way it should be, you know? He just so happens to be black. End of story, you know what I mean? And this is the way we should be teaching the next generation, that it doesn't matter what color you are.
So,
you know?
so essentially, no, I don't disagree. So essentially, you're saying that, you know, at the end of
it's a
at the end
vicious
of
circle.
Avengers, at
It's
the
a
end of
vicious
Avengers
circle.
Endgame, when he's handed the shield, he should have been the next Captain America, and that's it, job done. You know,
Boom, I'm in.
We didn't need all of this storyline.
I get it that there's always those times within films where you think it's, you know, it ends on that kind of cliffhanger, and then all of a sudden there's some kind of filler kind of episode where something's happening, where there's some kind of conflict going on. So I kind of get, okay, maybe he's conflicted, and that's what you kind of see within the first episode, that he isn't. He wants to do it, but he isn't, and there's all that kind of stuff going on. But it's, I mean, this is it. I mean, the trailers where, you know, it starts off with the shield going into the tree, and here we are, like second to last episode, and you're finally seeing that shot. It's like, blimey, O'Reilly. And then I just didn't get the whole, like, they're bouncing it around the tree and doing very well with it, and then in the montage sequence, he's like he's almost bashing himself in the head with it.
Yeah.
It did feel slightly the wrong way around.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
But, you know, again, whatever. By this point, I'm just like, okay, well, you know, whatever. I just, it's just such an, it's just odd, and it just isn't the show that I was so looking forward to this series. I really was.
It was
there's also a lot of speculation that the show, because obviously most of the filming was done pre-COVID, that a lot of the post has been some of the storyline has been changed, and I have to admit, looking at it, you know, there are areas where it's quite
the girl tonight,
ADR,
the girl tonight looked totally different. As if it was reshot, you know, the girl with the freckles. I don't know her name, forgive me, but
the actress playing Carrie.
It looked like there was some, you know, considerable time between.
Also, I don't know about you guys. This is just a small thing, right? And please forgive me. I hope I don't insult any women out there. But Bucky was basically, you know, flirting with Sam's sister. Now, I'm not saying that the girl is ugly or anything like that. What I'm saying is that if it was Halle Berry, you would understand why he's flirting with her. But it's not, right? And I don't mean look, this is just an observation of mine, because Hollywood is doing this. They have these magazines that have models, and they have someone of overweight, and there was like a title saying this is healthy. So Hollywood's going through this thing. About everyone is good looking, everyone. But the thing is, men are creatures of nature, right? So it just didn't work for me that he was flirting with her. Do you know what I mean? Because she's not ugly, but she's not Halle Berry. Do you understand what I'm saying? And as I said, a lot of people have a go at me about that, but it's a niggle of mine when I see. That's not the only time it's happened in a show and in a movie. Right, I seem to be noticing this a lot in films and TV shows that are actually happening. Do you know what I mean?
I read that more as a kind of more of the buddy type film trope, like for example, Tango and Cash. You know, there was that whole thing about. In fact, there's a degree of separation.
Yeah, but who was it, Keith? Who was it?
It was Terry Hatcher.
Exactly my point. Who's not going to fancy Terry Hatcher, for God's sakes? That's my point. I mean, I'm not saying the girl's ugly or anything. She's all right looking, but she's no Halle Berry. That's all I'm saying. And I've been noticing this a lot in films, like the villain, the girl with the freckles in her face. I mean, you know, she's too young to be a mastermind of, you know, lead. And it's this grown-ass Asian guy listening to what she's saying. This girl must be 16, 17 plus. It doesn't compute to me. It doesn't make any sense logically in my head.
Compute.
Yeah, but then again, you know, what do I know? What the hell do I know?
Not a lot, mate. Not a lot.
Yeah, apparently, I'm Gump. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Chump, more like.
You never know. With you, you've got the right T-shirt there, Ian. Because with you, we never know what we're going to get. Right?
That's right. Absolutely.
You're like a box of chocolates, mate. You're like, and I'm not being racist, by the way.
I'm just trying to be honest, right? Because nobody talks about these things, and it looks like I'm the only idiot that does. You know what I mean? Immediately when he said that on the boat, I was like, no. Do you know what I mean? Is there something wrong with me? That's the question. You know.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I just saw it as one of those sort of buddy tension trope type things, but maybe I was being too simplistic about it. I don't know. I didn't really read any more into that, but yeah. But one of the things, I mean, one of the things I've, you know, I'm doing a lot of defending of the show here and last week I felt like I was really defending it. Literally, I felt like I'd watched a different show to the rest of you guys. But one of the things I will say about, I really like Wyatt Russell as an actor.
Yeah,
and, but one of the things I will say about kind of, we've been talking about the writing of this show, and my problem with the John Walker character is I just feel that it's not nuanced enough. And the reason, what I mean is, he's either being a complete douchebag that we don't like, or we have some empathy for him, but the switch between those two things feels too vast, in my opinion. And I don't know whether this is a weird me thing or whether you guys feel that, but that's something that I'm slightly frustrated with that character for, because I find that I'm either, it feels, what I mean is that the switch feels forced, so it doesn't feel subtle enough. So I'm either thinking you're a complete piece of shit asshole, you know, or I'm empathizing with him and I'm thinking, you know, this, but there isn't any middle ground. Am I making any sense? Does anybody have?
Yeah, because I don't. I know I didn't. It felt like Anakin Skywalker kind of moment. 1 minute he's like, you know, 1 minute he's fine and running through fields with Padme, and the next minute he's hacking kids down with his lightsaber. You know, it didn't feel like a, you know, if they were planting seeds about the character, maybe they were sort of like in the early episodes. I don't know, remember as much now because I tend to be putting it in my head more, but it didn't feel like he was like progressively getting to that point where, you know, it was just like he's had a couple of fights and he's like feeling a bit bloody hell. You know, I'm not a super soldier and I'm getting my ass handed to me all the time. So now I'm going to inject myself with it. It just felt like, and the thing is as well that they like, didn't they describe like taking that serum? They were in a right mess for a while. They're like the whole process of taking the serum was quite, it wasn't just like, oh, right, wake up one day and sort of like, you know, Peter Parker and, oh, Jesus, look at me type of thing. It was like they go through some kind of painful process. It's like, has he been through that? Because it doesn't feel, unless there's a lot of time that's
passed. They changed the rules, didn't they?
Everything
the
was just like, and then they just kind of pop up, sort of like the fella for Mr. Ben. As if by magic, boom, the new Captain America and his mate has rocked up. It's like, where the hell did them two come from? Where's like at least a few scenes showing that they're actually doing a bit of investigation to what's going on, rather than conveniently showing up because the plot sort of like said, no, you need to be here now. So yeah, I agree. I don't think that that arc of his character has been like played out and used as much as it really needed to. Because it's a really great and interesting sort of like take. I just don't think it was sort of like, okay, we were here 1 minute, and then there's a scene where it's a bit miffed because he's kind of getting left out while the other two are doing all the work. And then all of a sudden he's talking about, would you take the serum? And it's like, right, okay. And then he's taking it. I didn't. It's, and again, this is it. I think that, you know, the actors and the characters are all good. I just don't think the way that it's kind of played out through the series for any of them has been
I agree.
half as intriguing as it should have been.
Yeah. No, I totally. And there are little things in there that bother me. Oh, there's an echo.
Echo.
Echo. That's what you meant.
Anyone hear an echo?
Great film.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. No, I'm just saying that the idea, and I know it happened in the comics, but still, you're writing for today's audience. The idea that they will hire someone that has been decorated by the army with no superpowers, give him the shield, and expect him to fight superhumans is stupid. You know, in the real world, and I'm not saying this is real. Obviously, it's
Don't
not
back
fantasy. It's really stupid. It worked in the comics, of course, because it was a different kind of type of story. But in today's world, which is what they're trying to put in with the racism and all that, it's a stupid idea. At least give him some powers, inject him with something, so he can go out there and take on these people and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That really doesn't make any sense. But I don't know what you guys think. But,
yeah, no. Exactly.
My take, I think, I've said this to you before, Ian. The girl with the freckles is going to save the day, obviously.
is she? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, she's gonna save Sam or somebody next week, and all will be forgiven. Yeah, that's where it's going.
Like One Division. One Division, tortures all these people, and then suddenly she's forgiven.
Load up, they're fine.
Wyatt Russell is the white man bad character.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
So obviously he's going to get torn a new arsehole next week.
Yeah. I mean,
I would.
An Academy ending.
Do you feel it went off too lightly this week?
Sorry?
He's going to get it next week. Don't worry, he's going to get it. He's going to get it next week. I go back to the weekly mission stuff. I think if they'd have planned this, because Disney's got the money, if they'd have planned this for, say, 4 seasons, 10 episodes, so you've got 40 episodes, you've got your weekly missions, they would have they could have Wyatt Russell as the protagonist for the seasons, so there's time to build that story arc, and he could basically be the bad man, you know, all this flag smasher stuff. Not interested.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even for the life of me, I don't even know what they're fighting for. What are they fighting for? Maybe I missed it.
They're fighting for the how life was
before the blip.
Well, during the blip, wasn't it? The fact that the borders went down and the freedom was greater at that point, and that's what they're fighting for, isn't it? Which isn't it's not a that's a more complicated argument, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't want to see it.
But are they happy that people have come back? They're really selfish if that's the way they think. They should be grateful.
Yeah, but I think it's caused problems in society, hasn't it? As it would. You think if half the population of the planet disappeared for 5 years and then suddenly came back, the impacts on society would be vast, wouldn't it? And again, maybe we're putting something too, maybe we're being too realistic in a thing about superpowered people from other worlds and stuff.
This is the problem. Sorry, this is the problem with the show. They're trying to add too much politics in there. Why can't they just ignore that fact? And as Ian just said just now, and give us what we want, which is a adventure show with different stories, and have one arc going through them all, but different episodes with like $6 Million Man or something like that, where they go on different missions. Show me the Falcon flying around and kicking ass. Show me when they give us back.
We're really
in a Lethal Weapon style, yes,
aren't we?
No. But it, Ian's making sense, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to do it this way. What they're concentrating on is the politics. Again, they're trying to shove today's politics into our enjoyment, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Doesn't like it.
I was about to say, if anybody watching out there strongly disagrees with this, please say. But we've actually had a comment from
Cruel Birab, one of our regulars.
He said, "Sounds like crap writing to me again." So,
it is, isn't it?
Okay.
Sorry, Anthony, I cut you off.
I agree with you, Keith. It's like with the again, it comes back to there's interesting points, and I think you have to address like that. Populations, like half the population is just like popping back up again. And that's fine, but it's just the way that they've dealt with everything. Because I know that was, I think, one of the criticisms of Endgame was like, oh well, nobody finds out. Half the planets pop back up again, and why aren't we finding out about it? And so we kind of discussed that more in like Spider-Man Far From Home and stuff. So
well, they made it a joke in that though, didn't they? That was the problem with Spider-Man is they kind of showed the humorous things that could happen rather than the more serious which they started to address in WandaVision, obviously with Monica Rambeau.
Are they trying to be a little bit grown up but falling very flat?
Well, maybe. I mean, we've had another comment here. Oh, no. Politics, that's what we want.
It is, mate. It is.
But no, appreciate the interaction. So thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because on one hand, you're absolutely right. They're trying to do some grown-up, serious, character building, storytelling, dealing with contemporary issues, etc. But on the other hand, we're talking about a show where there's mutants, there's people running around, in iron suits and super soldiers. So
I would say the kind of grown-up stuff we pick up on it because we'll kind of
grown up.
We're grown up. Yeah. Whereas I think we've got the attention span.
Yeah, we have.
Exactly.
No disrespect to younger people, and I was young once. They just have not got the attention span. The majority of them, and I think the producers, directors, writers, we just want flashing lights with action.
Put a brain on the table and just watch.
Assuming they, because most people now they watch TV. Assuming they watch TV with their mobile phone their cell phone, mobile phone.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Neither do I, mate. Neither do I.
Yeah.
By the way, Ian. Yeah. No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, we're all guilty of that. In fact, before we get to the end of this, I do want to actually talk about the if you like the model that we've got with this, the serialized and the weekly model. But before we get onto that, just to get through this episode. So one other thing that I found a little bit jarring, and I wondered what you guys thought about this, is we had that scene, again, I'm sort of going in the order. So we had the John Walker hearing, where he was stripped of his rank and basically asked to give the shield back and sort of essentially walked out of court. But then we
chopped the desk as well. Remember that bit? We chopped the desk.
Again, that's what I mean. He's a great actor, but there's a lack of nuance in the writing for this, I feel. But then we get this scene where we get Emmy Award winner Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Veep and Seinfeld turn up playing this character, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, which again, my knowledge, I didn't know that this is a character from the comics. But I felt it was I felt that the performance choice there and the direction for something that had been quite serious with John Walker, where that was. The performance, it felt a little jarring to me. And again, is this just to me, or what did you guys think of that character and that introduction?
Well, I think, if you can tell she's a villain, then basically the screenplay doesn't work. She comes in, she's really rude. Well, that's one thing I don't get about TV shows, right? Especially soaps, when somebody goes in someone's face and they go, right, you listen to me, blah, blah, blah. Why don't they just walk away? Why are they standing there listening to this guy go, I'm going to threaten you? They should just walk away. In real life, they'll just go, bye. You know what I mean? You'll go. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with this as well. She's so rude. She sits in between them. That other girl would have slapped her. You know what I mean? In real life, especially if they were in, she would have just went, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That scene doesn't work because of the way it's played, the way it's written, right? There's a balance, okay? Look at Batman 60s, Batman shot in the 60s, the TV show. Look at Richard Donner's Superman, the movie. right? Superman the
Here we
movie.
go.
He decided to do it serious, find the balance between comedy and, you know, make sure that the Man of Steel was this, and make sure the comedy was this, you know, and balance. In this scene, there's no balance at all. The woman was rude.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
there are similitude, as Richard Donner would say.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm being a bit silly here, but exactly.
No. I hear you. I mean, Malcolm Spellman, who's the showrunner for this, he did kind of, hint that we were going to get a new Marvel character reveal played by an award-winning actor. So which this is what he was talking about. But until I did some digging afterwards, I didn't really understand who this character was or what her importance was. Anthony, did you have any knowledge about this character prior to this?
No, not at all. I thought she was like playing the money maker.
The
power broker.
Yeah, power broker.
Yeah, I thought, this character's kind of like showing her face now, because I'd heard, there's going to be like, it's the same thing. I'd heard there was going to be some kind of reveal and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't know. And apart from going, and I was waiting for Claire to go. I recognise her because I know she hasn't watched Seinfeld's like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but she didn't ask, and that was the end of that. So, but it's just, I don't know. It was just again, it just felt like a scene. Okay, this is a scene that's really more about what it's going to be rather than what it actually is right now. Somebody's rocking up and this is who they are, and they eventually become someone. You know that they're dropping something on you, and it's like, it's nothing now. We're just sowing a seed for much later on. Yeah. And she was supposed to be in Black Widow, and Black Widow we should have seen, and apparently that was the course of events. Now it's the other way around. Yes. But it was just like, I don't know. That's what it was just like, okay, I know what they're doing, and they're just they're planting a seed in for what something else that's kind of coming up, which I get to my wick sometimes with a lot of like shows these days, that they just don't focus on their own contained story. It's like, no, we've got to lay in. It's almost like they're putting in like that post-credits thing, but they're putting it in the middle of the episode instead. It's just, I don't know, a bit weird. Yeah. It is what it is, whatever. But yeah.
Easter eggs, and there were plenty of them. We're still getting banter from the viewers, by the way. So short attention spans. Sorry, what was that? I tuned out for a moment. So do appreciate the banter. Thank you. But yeah, I felt, Mr. Brown, have you got any thoughts on this character or how that scene was revealed and played?
All I was thinking was, I've seen her on something else, and that's it. And anybody who's got a card that's black deserves respect. Anyway,
with nothing written on it. Yeah, black on one side, white on the other.
Heat and reveal.
Actually, it's a bit like the show.
I was expecting to hear those guitar plucks when I saw her, in Seinfeld, but it didn't come. So but it didn't come. So and let's not forget the post-credit sequence where Walker is making, I'm assuming, his new shield, giving it all that sparks and everything.
Yeah, well, that was a blatant kind of reference to the original Iron Man, wasn't it? The way that was shot. But yes, we do get a mid-credit sequence with him building his Captain America shield, because he believes he's still Captain America. He says it several times in the show, right?
He's got something to prove.
It's going to be bulletproof, and he will prove wrong on that as well.
I was going to say, it's not made out of vibranium, so it might be slightly disadvantaged.
Iron. The Seinfeld girl might, because she seems to be quite rich. She might have given him money and might have given him some, to build this thing. So together with Seinfeld, of course. And he'll probably go into his apartment. Open
Maybe
the
they're going to
fridge
make it out of unobtainium.
Was that not Tamian?
Unobtainium. Is that that's in Avatar? Isn't it?
Avatar. Yeah.
Anything's possible. We're not taking anything off the table at this point.
Yeah. I think Kramer might make a guest star.
Kramer needs to come in with it.
Yeah.
I
becomes his sidekick. That'd be awesome.
I don't know much about that character in the comics, but I believe there's some sort of connection to Hydra, which is
Hail Hydra.
Obviously, we got Zemo, who was connected with that. So, and also another reference there, of course, Zemo, Daniel Brühl's character, is getting taken to the raft, which of course is that in the middle of the ocean underwater prison that we saw in Captain America.
It is. I thought it was. I thought he was just going to have a nice ride on the water, on the raft. You know,
chill out with a family yacht. When we found out he was like a trillionaire.
yeah. Exactly.
Well, and again, this is that sort of thing about, you know, is the power broker, you know, is that going to be General Ross? Are they trying to set up?
It's not General. It's Sharon. It's Sharon. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Does anybody care?
The thing that she sent, what's his name? She was behind the trying to remember the character's name. Batroc, the French dude.
Yeah.
She was behind that because they say so on the phone call, don't they? And then he shows up in New York. So kind of weird. Yeah, that's a bit of a.
That's very odd what they've done with her. I don't.
Yeah,
that was another kind of character choice. It's like, what the? And apart from some of the performances were really dodgy in that episode. But it was just like, what the? I don't get what I saw some things where they thought that she might be like some kind of imposter, maybe she's a Krull or something. But I was thinking, now this is, this is Peggy's, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just like, so it just completely goes against everything that you would think she is or she was and who you saw in the previous things. So it's like, all right, the story needs this. Let's bung her in and we'll put her in there. It's just like, this seems
they're doing a Roundhead Johnson, aren't they? On all the characters. They're basically taking away what we want from the characters, and they're actually, you know, making them go else. You know, Sharon, I really liked her. You know, I thought her and Steve Rogers would have made a good couple if he stayed in this timeline, of course. but
still. The older man
is doing Ailey Hatwell, isn't he?
The question is, right? Is Steve Rogers still alive?
Lucky boy.
That's the question.
They raised that question.
They keep saying, he's gone, but he's like, is he? Because he was around last time we saw him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, and if he is still alive, why isn't Sam going to visit him and say, look, I need some advice, you know? I need to know what to do next and stuff like that. They talk like he's dead. You know, he's not around,
Guys,
stuff like that.
Do you think Marvel's had its day?
Yeah,
because I do. I think it's done.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where it goes, because I know exactly what you mean. Like with the fatigue, like you got Endgame,
like the death throes,
right? Yeah. Well, hold that thought there, because I do want to come back to that. Just to sort of get this episode out of the way and look at some of the references again. We see Ramirez again in this episode, who we haven't seen since the first episode, and it's quite funny because he says about you forgot your wings, and Sam says keep them, and apparently that guy in the comics does become the next Falcon, right? So that they're kind of trying to set that up as well. I guess.
Yeah, but he's a white dude. He can't become Falcon. Do you know what I mean? It's a white dude. Wow. Why? You know, if you're not going to logic, that shows following. Do you know what I mean? It's it's ridiculous, you know. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what's he like, Hispanic?
Yeah, he's Hispanic.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
But
I like his character, though. He says something really profound in that conversation, doesn't he? I can't remember what he said, but it was very profound.
That's how profound it was.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't remember it.
Has the character appeared before? Because I recognise the name, like Lieutenant Ramirez, and I thought it was another film.
Episode 1. He was in episode 1.
But no, away from like Winter Soldier and stuff.
I don't know.
There's something about it. As soon as I heard it, I was like, God, that sounds really familiar. But I can't, apart from Ramirez and Highlander, but I know it's not that.
It's bad to say.
Let's face it, Highlander, you're immortal. But yeah, it's well, if anybody out there knows the answer to that, please let us know, because our comics expert this week isn't here, so which is probably obvious. Yeah. So.
It was, you know, this episode was better than episode 1 and 2, I guess. It wasn't as good as last week's one. I thought last week's one was quite enjoyable.
That's a glowing reference.
It's how I feel. It's how I feel about the show. You know, I mean, Resident Alien or every episode I wasn't disappointed with at all.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a low budget sci-fi. This one has all the money thrown at it, and yet it can't entertain me fully. Do you know what I mean? So that says a lot.
Keith, are you enjoying this?
I am. Well, more than you guys, by the sounds of it. And I mean, I really enjoyed last week's episode, which, as I said, I was trying to get a guest on actually last week, and he couldn't make it. That loved last week's episode, and because like I was literally the only one that liked it, I was like, ah. But this episode, I mean, this episode trod a lot of water. We had, you know, yes, they were trying to do some more. It felt like the calm before the storm. You know, we've got the finale coming, and that's going to be, I guess, an action-packed, Marvel-esque, you know, type episode. In this, we did some character work. We got some resolution between Bucky and Sam. You know, feeding into truth. You know, the title. We got that great stuff with Azira Bradley, wonderfully played by Carl Lumley, and I actually thought that was, you know, quite a moving scene between him and Sam. And we get some other things set up. I thought this one was a little bit of a tonal mess because, as I said, I felt that the Julie Louis-Dreyfus Valentina character didn't kind of seem to fit. That felt like it was a little bit forced in, and I do have issues with the with the character arc of John Walker. Feels very sort of up and down. But yeah, I mean, overall, we haven't got to the end yet, and I'm excited to see the finale. I wonder whether it is going to be. Do you think this is going to? It's a question for you guys. Do you think this is going to be a final episode that's going to tie everything up, or do you think it's going to get left open for a Captain America and Falcon show or something that's going to follow on?
Going to get left open because the same thing they did with WandaVision is going to be the same thing they do with this. It seems like that's what they're going to do. It's obvious that's what they're going to do, and you know, quite frankly, I don't care anymore. So I won't be watching season 2. That's for sure.
No,
Are you going to watch Loki? Are you going to watch Loki as well?
I don't know. It's these two shows have given me a bad taste in my mouth. It really has, and they're not giving us what we want. You know, I mean, I'm obviously talking for myself. You know, I'm really not talking for the panel here. I just want to see a show that can entertain me, make me laugh, make me be on the edge of my seat. That's all I want. I don't want to be fed politics or, you know, or stupid casting or do you know what I mean? I don't want to be or jerk chicken. No jerk chicken, please. Fish and chips. But yeah, I don't want to be fed any of that stuff anymore. I just want entertainment. That's all I want. You know, it's not much to ask for. As far as I'm
Dad's Army for you, mate. Dad's Army. Exactly. I thoroughly recommend it.
Mr. Brown, you I think this is good now to sort of dig into what you were saying. So you kind of feel that Marvel and the MCU is sort of reached that fatigue point, yeah?
Yeah, it's for us, yes. It just felt like a natural end. And
Endgame, yeah.
It just felt natural. We had 10 years, 11 years. It was fabulous. Time to move on. But they're just, and what I've heard from Nerdrotic with it going into the MCU.
I said that last week, and everybody, it was like I farted or something. Everybody's faces were like, whoa. You know what I mean? So,
I always liked the DC stuff.
DC have its problems as well.
They're messing it up as well. So, yeah, there you go. I just think it's at its day.
Okay,
cool. Rest it for a few years.
Entertainment to entertain. It would be useful.
Yes. Yeah.
Anthony, any thoughts from you about the MCU, where it's going? Are you excited to carry on with it, etc.?
I think I'm more curious than excited now. I because this is it. Because Endgame really felt like I did enjoy, you know, that Spider-Man, And I am enjoying. I am looking forward to the next Spider-Man if they do as good a job as they could with sort of like what they're rumoring, or what Alfred, Doc Ock and all that kind of stuff kind of coming back in. So I'm curious to see where they go with it. I think at this point, rather than I am excited. I mean, I'll be watching Loki. At least I'll watch the first few episodes because I enjoyed the character, and I think Tom Hiddleston pulls in a cracking performance, and it does look like a bit of a laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be a bit different, tonally different, couldn't it, to this?
Yeah, it does. And it just, hopefully it'll be more, akin, say, to like, Thor Ragnarok to the rest of the MCU, that kind of thing, that it's like, okay, now they're just going to have a bit of fun with it, which would be nice, and which is what we need. I don't. This is it. I agree with it. Like, it leaves a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth when you get to the kind of the end of the things you've been really looking forward to, thinking this is a whole new direction they can take this now, the whole Disney Plus, and have these great big arcs, and they'll make some like huge, great big TV shows that'll look amazing. And then when you get them, they're like, yeah, they're not really that. I mean, I'm all up for nice, intimate kind of stories, but not when it's like, it doesn't even do that, and it's not even kind of delivering. I don't know. It's just, it does. I'll be watching next week just because, curiosity, and it's like, well, I've essentially watched the series, so I'll watch it to the end. But I think they will. I think they'll leave it open as well. I think they'll resolve aspects of the story and they'll leave other bits open, and it'll just get up my nose.
Right. Yeah, we've had a comment. Oh yes, the next phase of Marvel. I've heard about that. Thanks, but no thanks. So it looks like people aren't necessarily excited.
Mackie and Stan are just being wasted.
They are
to the max, and that's the criminal thing about this series.
Yeah, you've got two really good actors there, and they're being given shoddy material.
They've got chemistry as well. It's great.
Yeah. Again, on my criticisms of this episode, I do think, much as I'm a Rocky fan and I love a good montage, I do think that we had maybe one too many in this one, and it made me laugh to sort of, you mentioned the $6 Million Man earlier, Mr. Brown, to quote
classic series
Kenny Johnson, who was one of the producers of that show. He said that he always called those sort of when they're using their powers for sort of normal round the house things, he used to call it pocket bionics, where they use it to change a tire or do the gardening or do some DIY at home or whatever, and the bit where they were fixing the boat did kind of make me think of that.
It is. It's just it really is wasting my time now. It really is. As I said, I don't look forward to seeing episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This episode has proved that they literally are bombarding it with politics now. That's what they're doing. That lengthy conversation he had with the black guy from, must be the Bronx or somewhere, I just thought, you know what, just get on with it. Okay, we understand you've been in jail for 30 years, you've suffered. Do we have to really drag this out? Do we really have to suffer? Yeah, but we have to suffer too?
But to play devil's advocate on that, the point there was when in Captain America: The First Avenger, when Steve Rogers went to rescue the prisoners of war, of which Bucky was one of them, he got made a hero, and they became part of his Howling Commandos gang or whatever, and it was celebrated. Whereas this guy, Isaiah Bradley, did exactly the same thing, and he got put in prison for 30 years and experimented on. So I kind of see
but Keith, that doesn't have to be in the show. Do you understand? They put that in the show for a reason. They put it in the show because this is what Hollywood is doing now. They're adding this crappy politics into our shows. There's no need for this storyline at all. Right, we shouldn't refer to the color of people's skin in TV shows. We should accept who they are and let them do their thing. That's the best way to approach.
That would be more progressive.
Sure. Of course.
No, I agree. No, I'm just sort of saying why I think they've gone.
Well, also in the history of Marvel, with Captain America in the comics, he doesn't exist. He's not, as far as I know, because I've never read a comic where they had a black Captain America in it.
Yeah, no, he did.
Apparently,
yeah. I mean, I'm no comic expert, but apparently, this storyline, Truth, is taken from
what year?
Red, White, and Black.
What year?
I think it was a 70. I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think it was a 70s Marvel Comics storyline.
Okay, so you
and it
do
was about
realize
that character being experimented on during World War II.
you do realize that comics, right, had changed when it came to the 80s. It had changed when all the politics hit comics. So I don't know where that storyline came in, but I do know when Captain America was created, and it was the 50s when Captain America was created, or whatever time zone it was, that none of that existed. None of it existed. So it's a political thing again. They started doing political thing in comics way before the TV stuff.
Oh, of course they did.
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
they've done everything in comics before TV and films do it.
Yeah.
But oh, hold on a second. I'm just trying to see what the publication dates of this was. I think, okay, yeah, you're right. It might have been more recent. Looking at this, it looks like it may have been the 2003.
I rest my case. I rest my case. I'm sorry, right? But the thing is, it started with
I've only just Googled this
foremost.
quickly, so I'm not. This could be incorrect, but
well, who knows?
It was a series in Marvel Comics called Truth, Red, White, and Black. It was a limited series, and it basically featured some of this storyline. But yes, I'm no expert on this stuff.
No, somebody told me that there's a Batman comic where Batman was going to marry, and I don't know if this is true or not. Batman was going to marry Catwoman, and Catwoman doesn't turn up to the wedding, and he ends up crying. The last frame is that Batman ends up crying because Catwoman left him at the altar. Right. I mean, come on, come on. You know
what's wrong with that?
What's
Batman
right with it,
pussy.
mate? What's right with it? You know, what's right with it? Come on, that's where we get. That's these people. That's what they're sticking in our stuff. And you may deny it, and normies will just look at me like I'm crazy. But you know, it's there whether they like it or not. You know, so whatever, right?
Well, look, I mean, guys, if anybody out there finds this, it's either watching now or finds it afterwards and has any thoughts on that or disagrees, then please put it in the comments. And it'll be good to know what people think out there. One of the things I do want to there's a couple of things I want to do before we wrap up. But first of all, so speculation for next week. Next week's obviously the final episode of this season. Anything in particular that you strongly think will or won't happen?
Ooh,
Anthony.
That is a good question. I think Steve Rogers will turn up, sort everything out. It'll be the big thing. He'll be like, "Wait, that's it. Leave it to me. I'll mop up this mess." Bunch of bloody what? We've taken robots out of the sky, dropping, and it's like a bunch of people buggering about with mobile phones. Seriously, leave it to me. Bing bong bong with his shield. There you go, Sam. You can have it back now. I'm off. I'm back to retirement in Malibu. Thank you.
You don't think it's going to turn into Doctor Strangelove in that in that meeting room?
Do you know, I saw an ending to Doctor Strangelove. This was when I was at film school, and it was either the editor or assistant editor of it, and he played us it was either the original ending, alternate ending, whatever it was, and it was a custard pie fight. And I don't know if it's ever been seen since or ever come out, but at the time he said, this is the only thing that I've got. He'd had Stanley Kubrick had a discussion with someone, and when he came off the going and cut in the ending. So they cut this custard pie fight out between the Russians and the Americans, and he said it was this perfect ending about the ridiculousness of war and all the rest of it. And he said, but they've never released it and I don't think that they put it on a Blu-ray or a DVD at all. The estate were just like, no, we'll keep. Stanley Kubrick was still alive at that point, I think. So, so it was this. So it was just reminding me of that. It should have been like custard pie fight. That's what the last episode.
Maybe the Flag Smashers are going to break in and they're going to have a custard pie fight.
Well, they did break in at the ending, right?
Bugsy Malone.
That's it. Like Bugsy Malone.
What's going to happen?
Tiz was. It'd be like Tiz was. Oh my God.
Saturday.
My God. Everybody's showing their age here. Mr. Brown, any thoughts on speculation?
I think Anthony Mackie, his character will have a big fight with John Walker. It'll be bloody. It'll be down and dirty, and the girl with the freckles will march on in like John Wayne saving the day, and everybody will be happy. She'll be forgiven. Life's good. Blah blah blah. There you go.
Yeah, but she killed Lamar last week. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Oh, but
It will be it'll be conveniently forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. In Star Trek Discovery, didn't what's her name? What's the girl's name in Star Trek Discovery?
Michael Burnham.
Didn't Michael Burnham cause a war? And then she got arrested, and then she was in jail and then all is forgiven after everything she's done. All is forgiven. And what about the girl in Picard? She murdered someone, and then all's forgiven. No, I'm going to
go and retreat, and I'm going to think about what I've done. Oh, good on you, love.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just like you murdered him in such a brutal way on a table.
You think the right are going to totally...
I'm glad you've been able to reflect. I think at the end, you think it's all going to kick off, and Bill Oddie pops up because he's heard there's a rare Falcon that he's been trying to get a glimpse of, and everything.
It'll be that huge...
And then a big cat comes over.
Pussy will turn up, the big pussy.
Oh, it's going to be bloody epic. Oh, I'll tell you what. We'll write the next episode. It's going to be absolutely out there.
Ian,
get sued by the goodies. Doesn't matter.
Sorry?
It's not that, Ian? Mega Geek?
Yeah, look, I hope it doesn't end the way Ian is saying. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it did end that way, because they all seem to be doing the same thing, these shows, aren't they? You know, as I said, right, in One Division, the white man bad character, he was just doing his job, yet he got arrested at the ending. He was led away by handcuffs. He was just doing his job, right? And yet One Division was allowed to imprison all these people, especially kids, and then allowed to go off to some island and sit there, whatever, doing whatever.
On a mushroom going on.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if the freckle girl turned up and, you know, did something and then she goes away or something like that, whatever. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope there's a really good fight between the Winter Soldier and that Walker fella, because, like, you know, I think he's the only one that will she? Well, I don't think she'll die, but he's the only one that can take him on. Sam isn't equipped to take him on. Sam doesn't have any powers. All he has is the shield.
But he might have he might have a new. We don't know what's in that case, right? So he might have a new vibranium suit or something, you know, suit of armor.
This is lunch.
Do we think
jerk
chicken? Do you think Rhodey will turn up? Right. Do you think Rhodey will turn up?
I hope so, but you know what, right? I think it's a T-shirt saying I'm with stupid. That's what it's in the box. Just one T-shirt. That's all it is. But, you know, it's either a Captain America costume that gives him special powers, or it's just another Falcon costume. I don't know. But you know what? At this moment in time...
Nanotech armor.
Yeah, it could be. I don't really care, to tell you the truth. Because this show is not giving me any reason to watch season 2. Do you know what I mean? It really isn't. It's just very...
Well, that's the final thing I want to have a quick chat about as well. Something that Mr. Brown was bringing up earlier as well is this whole thing about not necessarily episodic in terms of individual episodes, but the fact that obviously Disney Plus, they want us to continue subscribing to their channel. So we've gone back now to having weekly, you know, episodes drop weekly rather than in one go and doing a binge watch.
That's a good way.
What are your thoughts, each of you, on that? How do you prefer to consume your content? You know, I'm just this is something, the consumption model is something I'm very interested in. So what do you think, Mr. Brown? Let's start with you.
It's called water cooler moments. Obviously there isn't any at the moment because of the coof going on. But that's what weekly TV is about.
Yep.
Did you watch last night? When they just drop it in one go? No.
Yeah.
It was fun when it started that way. I remember me and Keith.
That's what spoiled Cobra Kai, by the way. Season 3.
Yeah.
It was dropped in one lump.
I remember we were watching, me and Keith, when they they first introduced this model, me and Keith were watching Daredevil, and we were watching at the same time. Do you remember? And I'd be texting you, going, "Is that Uric? He's suddenly got shade." Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that, and it was really fun to do that way. But now I think I agree with this guy down there, Mr. Brown. They shouldn't be doing that now, because it's the anticipation. If it's a good series, it's like, again, I'll say Resident Alien is such a great show. I couldn't wait to see the next episode and the next episode and the next episode. You know what I mean? And that's a good TV show. And they actually played it week after week. So you know what I mean? So I think that model
Lois and Superman as well. Lois and Superman.
Yeah. So Superman, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think they should binge it.
Anthony, do you have a thought on this?
I mean, I've always kind of taken it as it comes. I think for me, it always started like with 24, because I'd never watched it when it was on telly. But it was like you'd get the DVD box set and then just burn through it and thinking, "Oh my God, we can watch this in one go." And I think it's a thing that's been fun. And with the chance that something comes up and you don't have to have that wait, but now you miss the wait. Yeah. You miss that kind of like getting excited about it and the frustration of having to wait a week. But it's you realize, and you actually take it in better, because now you binge a show or series of films for that matter, and you don't remember them as well.
Well, that's very true. Yeah, no, that's very true. I find that there was a couple of months back, there was something that dropped on Netflix called it was like a limited series called Behind Her Eyes.
I saw that.
Yeah, which I actually, I kind of watched it in 2 days. It was like 6 episodes, 6-hour-long episodes, and I binged it in 2 days, and I really enjoyed it. But if you ask me to sort of say exactly what happened now, I struggle. And let's be honest, we wouldn't have shows like we're doing now if things always dropped in one go. So I'm kind of enjoying the weekly.
If Sam's sister looked like that girl in Behind Your Eyes, then yes, I would understand. What's her name? What's his name? Bucky, flirting with her, but she doesn't. So there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, I do want to get to all the comments. So Paul Dewlake has put on here, shows reflect the current culture, and unfortunately identity politics is everywhere. However, I like the way they actually address it in this show. Conversation about being black and Captain America. So Paul's kind of in the same camp as me there. I mean, I think it's okay in this show. I don't mind it. I think there's time in this kind of
wouldn't be an issue over here. Wouldn't be an issue if there was a Captain UK. Would not be an issue.
No,
right? Yeah.
I don't think it would.
Still red, white, and blue, but yes.
But then you wouldn't be able to get him out of the pub.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd be eating too much Caribbean food. That's the thing. So, yeah. According to the BBC, of course. Yeah.
And Anthony, the same as you here. Cruel Birab said, "I binged a lot of 24 when I was working nights."
Great program.
The whole kind of
we need to know what happened to Jack.
Yes,
we do.
Yes.
You're right.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. I agree.
They brought it back with some other guy, didn't they? They brought it back with some other guy, didn't they? They brought it back with another guy, and it was like rubbish.
Yeah, one episode. John, I think it's John Cassar who the main.
That's right.
He's directed quite a lot of episodes, and he's pally with he's friends with Keith Sutherland, and I've tweeted him so many times. We need to know what.
Yeah, we need to know what happened to him. Yeah.
We need to know.
I just want to hear him one more time say, "God damn it!" I want to hear him say that.
The Russians took him, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, they took him. Went off in the helicopter, and we never heard again.
That was a good show. That last one that they did with him, was it the London one? Was the last
in England? Yeah, it was really
you need to go stream, mate.
It was really. I remember me and Keith were watching. I watched it with my brother as well. We were like that chase in London. I was like, yeah, that's a really, it was a really good show, and it was a bit dumb.
I liked it, Ian.
Yeah, I know you like. Yeah,
I tried.
It's it was good, but it's no Rebecca Gold, is it?
No.
Well, at least I'll be in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, at least you will.
Yeah. No, but as I said, this show, it should have been better. That's my last word on it. It should have been much better than it is.
It's not going to be your last word, Ian, because obviously we will be back for
on this episode.
Final episode. Although guys, if you're subscribed to the channel or whatever, or following me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., stay tuned, because it might be on a different night next week. It might not necessarily be Sunday at 8 p.m. It'll be a different time. So please check that out, and look out for that if you're remotely interested in any of this stuff, which I'm not making that assumption that you are. But if you have joined us tonight and filled in the comments, or if you're listening to us afterwards, thank you so much. It is really appreciated.
I tweeted the link out, so that's why Cruel was here. He's one of our regulars.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing. I mean, I think I hit 275 subscribers this week, and
nice.
The thing is, Keith,
June. So
you've just got to you've literally got to pile the content out daily.
I'm trying.
Yeah, but it's just impossible.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
It's hard.
But
YouTube
there you go. We do it because we enjoy it. That's all of this is supposed to be, is a bit of fun and a bit of entertainment, and a bunch of geeks talking about stuff they like.
Should I think you should do a 24 show, Keith.
Maybe we will.
I think you should.
24. So maybe that'll be something future. Maybe, and I know the Mega Geek will want to be on that one for sure. But yeah. I think, guys, that's probably a good place to leave this episode. As I always do, I want to give everybody the opportunity to promote what they're doing and where people can find them. So, Mr. Brown, where can people find more of your work and your
what is it? It's Mr. Brown Alliance. That's it, on YouTube. Yeah, I'm just doing it for the fun at the moment. So, yeah, Mr. Brown Alliance.
Have you got anything exciting coming up that you want to promote?
I'm okay. What I've been working on over the weekend is I'm doing a Problem Being did a record for As.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh right. Okay.
I'm doing one for Doomcock.
Good stuff.
Because I'm really into trying to produce music, and I've spent a lifetime coming up with nada, but some things come together for once.
Good stuff.
Congratulations.
Watch your space.
So check that out at Mr. Brown Alliance, right, on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be happening soon.
All right, fantastic. Anthony, I know you've definitely got something that you want to promote and talk about, so fire away.
Right, it's you can go out into the web and find Cleaning Up the Town Remembering Ghostbusters. There is a nice 2-for-1 offer on Zavi. No, 2 for 25 on Zavi? At the minute, it's within there. I was looking through because I've got a few good films, and then there was our film. So, Clean Up Town Remembering Ghostbusters is a retrospective deep dive into the making of Ghostbusters. It took us years to make, so you can find it through our website on Bruno Productions. But if you do, at Ghostbusters Doc on Twitter and Instagram, we're there, and you can pick it up on Amazon, Zavi, HMV. I think I'm forgetting someone. I think it's all up on iTunes and everything as well now again, because it was away for a while, but it's all back on there again. So it is out there. The Blu-ray I recommend over the digital download because I'm just old-fashioned, and there's more content on the Blu-ray. So
physical media.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down below these videos, if you want to watch a full review of the Blu-ray, there might be one on there somewhere.
Really, Keith?
Yeah.
Really, Keith?
And Anthony, what's next for you?
I don't know. Whatever I feel like, really, I might go for a walk tomorrow. I'm thinking. So the next chapter will be we're working on the Ghostbusters 2 doc, which is called Too Hot to Handle.
Wow,
Remember
cool.
Ghostbusters 2.
We were talking about Ghostbusters the other night, weren't we?
Yeah. No, I know this guy did the documentary, and it took him years because I think I know you through Keith, don't I? So I know.
It. Yeah, we went to see T2.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Right, yes.
Behind film. So so that's what we're working on now. We're developing a couple of films as well. So We're just kind of keeping busy while also actually just enjoying a rest, because we were doing it for years and we didn't have a break that whole time. So that's what's going on. But right now, working on Too Hot to Handle, Remembering Ghostbusters 2. That's what we're looking forward to kind of getting out into the world before the new Ghostbusters film.
Yeah, are you looking forward to it? The Afterlife one?
I am really looking forward to it because I think it's going to be a good, and I'm not massively keen on the, they release a clip and then the toys are available almost immediately type of thing.
Yeah.
That does ignore a little bit. Apart from that, I am really looking forward to Afterlife. From everything that I've kind of heard and picked up on, I think they're going to get the right kind of balance between giving us something new, but also paying a lot of respect to what that original film was. So
I feel like that's a whole nother stream. So but please check out that documentary, Mega Geek. Where can people find more of your work, and what have you got coming up?
Okay. So basically, I made a web series called Rebecca Gold, won loads of awards. I have to keep saying that. Didn't win director award, damn it, but hey, such is life. So you can look up Rebecca Gold on YouTube and watch the whole series itself. I'm on Twitter, which is under the Mega Geek, at Ian David Diaz. Keep forgetting that. I'm under there as well. And I have films on YouTube channel. I used to have Bad Day, but it got a copyright strike. A film that I own got a copyright strike. Would you believe it? So I put it elsewhere. So if you want to see Bad Day, just contact me and I'll give you the link to watch it. I hope the copyright strike person is not watching this. Otherwise, I'm in trouble.
I'm doing well if they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm a filmmaker. That's me, really. I make films. I make films. So what can I say? And I'm going to be making Rebecca Gold too soon. So watch out for that one.
We're excited about that one.
Do you need any extras?
Absolutely.
Extras always welcome.
There you go. And thank you. You can find, obviously, if you're watching this, you've already found my channel, Home Media Minefield. You can find reviews of physical media, unboxings of Blu-rays, 4Ks, etc. All sorts of films and genres down below. If there's anything in particular you want me to review, then please do put that in the comments, and I will see if I can get round to that. If you want to see some films that I've made, if you go to another YouTube channel called British Isles, that's EYLES, as in my last name, you can find half a dozen short films there that I wrote, produced, and directed, and in one of them as well. So please check that out. Also, you can find this, as I've already mentioned, as a podcast at LSWOT Cast on all good podcasting apps. But that just leaves me to thank all my guests. Thank you for tuning in on this, and we will see you at the next edition of Let's See What's Out There on Home Media Minefield. Bye for now.
Cheers.